Well, I think we're ready to get down into the lines for the game and then give out our picks. So first of all, I do want to look at one thing. Let's look at a well-known quirk in Super Bowl betting lines, and that's that the relationship between the spread and the money line is often out of whack with what it would be in the regular season. Right now, the spread's 5.5, and the money line on the favorite at full juice is about minus 215, which might be a little bit low. So Justin, do you have anything to say about that? Do you think that if you like the Colts, you're actually going to get better value with them on the money line instead of the spread, and that the opposite is true? If you like the Saints, you're better off with the spread?
You see this every Super Bowl where you have the Joe Public betting the favorite on the spread and the dog on the money line, so they get out of sync. So, if this game closes, say this game closes Indianapolis at minus 6.5, you'd expect the money line to be about minus 240 or minus 250, but you won't see that. It'll be lower. So if you're going to bet the Colts, you probably want to wait until game day and bet the money line. So at 5, it wouldn't surprise me if you ended up laying 200 when this game is at 6 or 6.5.
Okay, great. And finally, let's talk about the total. Obviously, two huge offenses, but the total's very high at 56.5. Normally, the public loves to bet the over in the Super Bowl, so it's often advisable to look at the under for value, but that might not be the case here. The obvious thing that you think of at first is actually very succinctly summed up by a post from the poster MSEC512, MSEC512, who posted, "Take the over and watch some trade TDs all night. Could be the most points ever scored in a Super Bowl." So let's start with you, Justin. Where'd you set the line for this game?
56.5.
Okay, so you think that the total's right on?
I think it's right on, but that includes a slight upward adjustment for having 2 weeks off.
Right, okay. So, Bob, do you have any opinion on this total? Last year, you were the only one on the panel to come out and give the over as a pick. Of course, you were right about that. What do you think about the total in this game?
Well, we'll see if I can make it 2 in a row with the totals. I like the under in this game, and I'm going to chalk it up to some big game jitters. You saw Breeze, perhaps not at the top of his game in the NFC Championship game. This one steps up to a whole new level. So I see the Saints especially having trouble with the touchdowns. I can see a couple of field goals in their trips to the red zone. And I don't think, again, I'm going to harken back to the Indianapolis defense. I think this is a group that may hold the Saints to a couple, 3 field goals once they get into the red zone. I think Manning, like he did against the Jets, is capable of taking his team on a long 80-yard drive, eat about 6 or 7 minutes off the clock. So I'm going to look for an under in this game.
Interesting. Okay, and finally, I guess let's just get down to our picks. Each of us will just give the side that we like in the game. You can qualify it by saying how much or how little you like it, and try to mention a factor that is key to your pick. Bob, start with you.
If I haven't tipped my hand already, I like the Colts in this game. I like them by a touchdown or 10 points, and all I can say is Manning, and more Peyton Manning.
Okay, and Justin, what's your pick on this game?
I like the Saints small at 5.5. I like them more at 6. If you get it at 6 or 6.5, find a rec book and buy it up to 7.5. But it's still a small play. The real strong play will be playing the middle, playing the Colts money line with a hedge bet on the Saints spread.
All right, well, I guess we won't have a consensus this year, but that's okay. Me, just for the record, I'll take the Saints plus 5.5. That's just a token bet. If this were a regular season game, I'd probably pass. I do think the Saints offense will eventually be able to move the ball against the Colts and have a decent shot at keeping it close. But that's it. So that's it for the SBR.TV Super Bowl 44 preview. Thanks to all the posters who provided great quotes for us to use. And, of course, check back on SBRforum.com for discussions on all this and more right up until kickoff. For SBR.TV, I'm Peter Loshak.